We're back with Ruth Marcus, columnist and deputy editorial page editor at The Washington Post, and Washington Post columnist Michael Gerson. Mike, I want to start with you. You worked for a president who, after 9/11, was very careful about how he spoke about Muslims in America. Donald Trump is talking about his ban on Muslim immigration and now the idea of profiling.
Right.
What's your reaction?
Well, even going further, he attacked the Muslim community for not being cooperative enough. He intimated that the President of the United States may be a jihadist agent, which goes pretty far. This is very, very dangerous in the daily conduct of the war against terrorism, which requires cooperative communities in the United States and cooperation with allies abroad. All of our allies in this fight, most of them, are in fact Muslim allies. So this is, deeply self-destructive, but it also has just raised huge concerns in the minds of Republicans. It was a test. Is this guy pivoting? Is he ready? And in fact, he failed the test dramatically.
What about on the Democratic side, Ruth? The test, Hillary Clinton had the same test. What's your grade of her?
I thought she got a good grade. I thought, it's all about the baseline and it's all about the curve. And so when your contest is against Donald Trump, anybody is going to look pretty good when he's talking the way he was talking about Muslims, the Muslim community, and President Obama. But I think that, we're at this very interesting moment as we talk about Muslims and Islamic terror and as we talk about national security, where I think you may be starting to see a shift in the gun debate. Now, nobody should ever think that changing gun laws in this country is easy, but as we begin to talk about guns as a question of not just gun control, but as a question of national security. That's really a potential opening here. In terms of Secretary Clinton, she came out and I thought said the right things and in fact the right words about this horrible tragedy in Orlando.
Like, one thing she did say that was a bit of a change is she said, well, I'll call it radical Islam, I'll call it, whatever. Well, the president has been very specific about his language. A lot of people have said that suggests that he doesn't see the picture clearly. Why do the words matter here? And was it a big shift that Hillary Clinton basically adopted what many, including Donald Trump, have said she should have been saying all along?
Well, I think there's a lot of people that have this conviction that the words determine outcomes, and they don't really. When I was in the White House, the State Department had a view on the words we should use, CIA had a view on the words we should use, even internally within the government, they disagree about words that are used. But I think that most people are going to view Hillary Clinton as a little bit to the right of Barack Obama on foreign policy and security. She certainly was on the Syrian issue internally. She pointed that out in her book that she disagreed with the president on these issues. I view that probably as an advantage. She is going to be seen as a more hawkish alternative to President Obama. That's probably an advantage.
And saying the words just gets the issue off the table, and then you can move on to a real debate about what we should be doing.
So you think it's off the table? I don't think they're going to let it go. Because the president is still adamant.
No, it off the table as it relates to the party's nominee. So he can say that, he can claim that he pushed her into doing it, but the real debate has to be not about, as Mike said, not about the words that we use, but the policies that we implement.
The Gallup poll shows that Republicans see this as a terrorist event, Democrats see it as a gun control event. Everybody goes to their corners right away.
Welcome to America.
Yeah.
Look, I think, as I was saying before, smart people should understand it because it is understandable as both, and we need to address it as both. And there is never going to be a, I'm tempted to say, silver bullet solution to this. But if we can have incremental changes along the lines that a lot of your guests were talking about today, we may be able to stem some of this violence, not all of it.
Mike, if this was a test for Donald Trump, and Republican leaders have obviously not supported his idea of a Muslim immigration ban, what do those leaders do? What's the state of the...
Well, I think that Republican leaders like Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan have proven that it doesn't matter what Trump says, they're willing to swallow it. He has already accused his opponent of possible complicity in murder, and now he's accused the president of treason. There's nothing they won't take. But the thing that's changing in the polling is support among Republicans. And that, I think, all of a sudden, if it looks like the House of Representatives is at risk, if it looks like a debacle, a disaster, you're going to find Republicans all across the country rediscovering their conscience when it comes to Donald Trump. And we're on that verge. Republicans are at a stage of panic in the Republican National Committee, many. The question is whether they're going to move to a state of revolt. And that's, I think, what we're going to see in the next 2 weeks.
Ruth, on the Democratic side, Bernie Sanders seems to be moving down a pathway, but he hasn't gotten all the way there. And his campaign manager said 3 different times when asked if he was still running, he said yes. So where do things stand on the Democratic side?
Well, not where they stood in 2008 when Hillary Clinton made her famous speech about the 18 million cracks in the glass ceiling. I went back and looked at that. In that speech, there were 16 references to Barack Obama. They were all about the notion that it was essential for the party to get together, to work as hard as it could to elect Barack Obama, not to stop his opponent, but to elect Barack Obama. Bernie Sanders, you would not use the word gracious to describe his speech. He mentioned Hillary Clinton 3 times in the notion of he sat down and had a meeting with her, and he still had strong disagreements with her. The question for Senator Sanders is really, is this the most useful employment for him of the power that he has, or does he risk dissipating his influence with the party as it moves on and understands, as he did say, that the real goal for the party needs to be defeating Donald Trump?
All right, Ruth Marcus, Michael Gerson, thank you both for being with us on a very packed show. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.